What are those experiences that really jump-started your critical thinking in IT and cybersecurity? And what were those times that you really started getting into, I need to make a tangible difference in how my community approaches it, what the tools that we're working with in our kind of more broader mindset and what's at risk? What do you think those experiences were?
It goes even before I joined at Intel. So prior to that, I worked in another sector where I focused on theft, fraud, embezzlement, things of that sort. So the team I was on, world-class team, in looking at that. And the most important aspect in there is to realize that you're dealing with intelligent adversaries. You can figure out the landscape, you can figure out the obstacles, but it's really about that intelligent threat agent. And if you can understand what their motivations are, what their capabilities are, that kind of paints a picture on the path that they're going to go down, the type of methods and the thinking in who they're going to target. And that is incredibly valuable. Now, jump forward when I was at Intel, and hugely technology-oriented company. Everybody's engineers. And unfortunately, at Intel, and Intel wasn't the only one, every other major company out there, they looked at cybersecurity as a technology problem, that they just needed an engineer to solve something, to flip a switch, to make some magic little box. You turn it on, you're done. The world's secure.
Shove the widget into the hole, and then we're solved the problem.
Magic black box. And the reality is that isn't it. And when you have only an engineering mindset and you're trying to tackle an environment where you have an intelligent adversary, you lose. You just continually lose until you get so beat up you realize, okay, it isn't just an engineering problem. It isn't. And when you start dealing with the fact that you now have to do in a business, right? You have to justify what you're spending. You can't just spend all the revenue of a company. So you have to look at the technology. Absolutely. That's your landscape. You have to look at the behaviors, both of the attackers as well as your own internal employees, social engineering the victims. And then you have to look at the process as well, because you're not going to have infinite budget or infinite timeline. You have to be efficient. Whatever you build has to be agile enough moving forward to stay in lockstep with the attackers, but it has to be sustainable. It has to be affordable. It has to work within the business processes and not inhibit the main business goals. So you have to weave all of this together, the technology, the behaviors, and the process, to be able to build a successful program. And at Intel, Intel's chips are everywhere and in everything, and that's ingrained in the culture. It's got a great forward-looking aspect on how Intel touches every aspect of the world that was transitioning to digital, the great digital transformation.